Hello everyone, I'm Diego and I'm one out of 3 triplet flames who are rainbow star people. And today I'm going to be talking about cultivating self-love. But before I get into this topic, please like this video and subscribe to this YouTube channel for more content like this. Now on to today's topic. So, when I talk about self-love specifically, I'm not referring to that type of toxic positivity where it's like superficial and you just have to buy tons of things to like love yourself. That's not what I'm referring to. I'm referring to this deep connection and self-acceptance that you have for yourself no matter what circumstance comes your way. So no matter what circumstance, it means that no matter what happens, you will still love yourself. Now that is easier said than done. Some circumstances can make it difficult for you to love yourself, and especially if you've gone through a traumatic event or experience. That can also be the case if you went through bullying as a child or even as an adult, or if you went through a traumatic event as a child as well, or even as an adult, or even bullying as a teenager, or a traumatic event as a teenager. All of these things can be obstacles towards loving yourself. And when you love yourself and accept yourself, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to make it so that it seems easy, because it really isn't something that's super easy. But when you start loving yourself and practicing self-love daily, you'll notice that the more you do it, the easier it becomes. It's just like practicing a musical instrument. The more you practice that instrument, the easier it becomes to play it and to play that song. The same goes with self-love. The more you practice self-love and self-acceptance, the easier it's going to become to practice self-love. And if you don't like the word self-love, you can use the word self-acceptance if you prefer that. I know people tend to romanticize love a lot, and I'm not talking about romantic love. I'm talking about being kind to yourself and accepting yourself when I refer to self-love. So the basic way to love yourself, and this is just one out of many ways to do it, and there's no right answer in terms of how to self-love, how to love yourself, is to practice self-care. So when you practice self-care, like taking care of your body, nourishing yourself, giving yourself a nice bath, making sure you sleep on time, exercising, all of these things are going to make you feel a whole lot better, and it's going to result in you practicing self-love. But those are not the only ways to practice self-love. Also, just because you do these things does not guarantee that you're going to feel better all the time. For me, I've learned about myself that there's a specific time of day, like between 7 p.m. and 9 p.m., that my mood drops and that I have a more difficult time in terms of my emotional well-being. My emotions, I have more negative emotions between those two times. If you learn more about yourself and the way that you function, that's going to make it easier for you to love yourself. So I know not to make difficult decisions between those two times at night. I know to be more kind to myself during those times at night. So there's a saying in Buddhism, and by the way, I am not Buddhist. I am spiritual, but I do want to mention this. There's this quote in Buddhism that has to do with how there's 2 arrows. The first arrow is this unfortunate event that happens in your life that causes you to feel pain. But the second arrow, which is the arrow you can spare yourself from, is the arrow of suffering. It's this second arrow that you want to make sure to avoid doing. So And this arrow is a metaphor, right? It's not literal. You're not actually shooting yourself with an arrow, you know what I mean? It's a metaphor. So this second arrow of suffering happens when you start ruminating about what you could have done better, what you didn't do that you could have done better, how you could have possibly changed the situation so that it had been better. But the fact is, that event already happened, it's already done, and there's nothing you can do to change what just happened. You have to just accept the situation for the way it is and accept it completely and unconditionally. Because if you don't accept the situation, you're just going to cause yourself suffering and you're just going to feel worse. So what's the point of feeling worse? Don't you want to feel better? So there's that. You can spare yourself from the arrow of suffering. However, with pain, that is something that you can't avoid. Sometimes you will go through an experience that causes you to feel pain, and that is just part of life, and that's okay too. And it's during these moments of pain that it's important to really accept the situation for the way it is, especially if it's outside of your circle of control. Because there's only so much in our lives that we can control. And when something's outside of your circle of control, it's important to accept those things because there's nothing you can do to change those things. The only things that you can change are the things that are inside of your circle of control. So another thing that is important to keep in mind when loving yourself is that when you go through a difficult experience, it's important to think of the things that you have learned from having that experience. Like, has this experience actually granted you wisdom, or has it helped you mature more, or has it given you something that you could learn from? Like, for example, let's say you were fired from your job, which would suck, right? It would suck for anybody. You can learn from that experience by learning what kinds of behaviors are helpful and what kinds of behaviors hinder you. And from that, you can learn to be better at following the rules. Whatever kinds of rules that your job has, you can learn how to follow those rules more closely in the future so that you don't make the same mistake again. And look, everyone makes mistakes, and that's part of life. Another really important thing to keep in mind when practicing self-love is to let go of the expectation of perfection. If you keep thinking about how you want everything to be the ideal way, you're just going to suffer your whole life. Like, if you only focus on, okay, well, this isn't exactly ideal, it's not the way I want it to be, instead of focusing on, oh, I wish things were different, I wish I could make things better, I wish that things were the ideal way, instead of thinking that way, accepting things for the way they are, and coming to this place of self-acceptance where you're like, okay, things might not be exactly the way I want them, but I can at least feel grateful for the things I already have. When you start talking to yourself like that, like expressing gratitude for the things that you already have, that's going to bring you to a place of self-love. Because you can ruminate all you want about how you wish things were different and more ideal. I'm an idealist, so I understand that completely. Like, I wish that the world were in an ideal way. But my world is not an ideal world. And I've learned that it's important for me to accept the imperfections of the way my world is now, because imperfections are beautiful. Something that I want to say real quick to all of you is, if you ever decide to reach out to me, please tell me that you actually watched my YouTube videos and that you found them interesting or something along those lines, and introduce yourself before you start texting me. Because if you just say, oh, I want to talk, like out of the blue, and don't give me any context, don't tell me that you got my number from watching my YouTube videos, then I'm probably not going to respond. I'll probably respond and be more likely to respond if you actually reach out to me and tell me your name and tell me how you liked my YouTube videos. I'm going to tell you a quick story. So there was someone that reached out to me recently, and I think I told that person that I wasn't sure if they were a real person or not, and they took offense to that and ghosted me after I said that. But I think something that you have to remember is if you do decide to reach out to me, that I'm going to probably have my guard up at first, because there's a lot of scammers out there. There's a lot of people who, try to take advantage of you. So I was just telling that person, hey, like, I'm not sure if you're legitimate. Can we like FaceTime or something so that I can make sure you're a real person, that you're the person you say you are? They never ended up FaceTiming me or doing anything like that, or even going to WhatsApp me. They just texted me and flirted with me and stuff. I'm not going to go too much into detail about that, but they basically ended up ghosting me just because I said that I thought they could possibly be a person that is different from what they say. And that frustrated them, right? But I've learned from this experience to basically not say those things, like not be like suspicious of, oh, you could possibly be a different person from what you are, but also to still be cautious when I talk to strangers, especially if they're in a situation that makes connecting with me more difficult. Yeah, and like if you do decide to reach out to me, just remember you're a stranger still, and I'm still getting used to you, and I still need to establish that trust, because trust has to be earned, and that's something that is very important to remember. When you are loving yourself and you start loving yourself, you start realizing that you need to set boundaries with people. And when you set a boundary, that is because you are meeting your own needs. For example, me setting the boundary of saving myself for marriage is a boundary that I set because I love myself and I want to have a successful marriage. And I know statistically, and according to facts, that you're more likely to have a successful marriage if you wait until marriage. So setting a boundary and sticking to the boundary is a way of practicing self-love. And with this person, I was like, I'm not going to you're not going to earn my trust until I see your face in a video chat. And that was the boundary I set, and that person couldn't handle the boundary. They couldn't handle it. They were like, they ghosted me because I was suspicious that they could be someone that was not who they said they were. And I've learned from this experience that what I did was okay. It was okay to have my guard up. And I also learned that I need to maybe be a little bit more inviting and welcoming towards people in general, and not say things like, oh, I could suspect you'd be a different person from what you say you are. I'm not going to say those things out loud to those people anymore, but I will still have that in the back of my mind. And you just never know, when someone reaches out to you, you never know if you can trust them. And setting that boundary of, okay, I will only trust you if you FaceTime me or go on WhatsApp with me. Like, setting that boundary is good, because then you're practicing self-love. You're preserving your own mental health. You're preserving your own emotional health. And you're not getting involved in drama. You're just staying in a healthy place, basically, is what I'm saying. Now, I've had wonderful connections with people. Like, there was someone who reached out to me that was interested in talking about quintuplet flames. And she was very kind, and I have a nice WhatsApp connection with her. She decided to reach out to me through email and through YouTube, and it's been wonderful connecting with her and supporting her in her journey. Let me just say real quick, just in case y'all don't know, triplet flames are essentially 3 people who come from the same soul. Quintuplet flames are 5 people who come from the same soul. So that's just a quick definition in case y'all don't know what those things are. So let's get back to the topic of self-love. I know I kind of went off in a direction But let's get back to this. So I think another important thing to remember about self-love is, instead of ruminating in the past about what you could have done better, learning from your experiences and really accepting those experiences and being kind to yourself. I think a big thing that you can do every day, I actually have this app on my phone that shows affirmations. So like saying affirmations every day, that's me practicing self-love, because I'm actually replacing limiting beliefs with affirmations that are useful for me. But something that you can do every day when you look in the mirror is say one kind thing to yourself. Like, oh, I really love how my hair is. By the way, just so all of you know, I looked at the YouTube poll for whether I look good with short or long hair, and I got about a 50-50 result. So I look equally good with short and long hair. So I was thinking I could do a nice in-between and have a nice little haircut where I have a medium hair length. I was thinking of having my hair length down to my chin and not past my chin. Right now my hair is down to my shoulders, and I'm thinking of having it like at around chin length. And then my bangs, which are very long, as you can see, I'm gonna probably have them trimmed so that they're short and don't go on my face. Because when I practice capoeira, which is a martial art, and I have my hair down, sometimes my hair gets in my face and then I can't see. So, and I start like eating my hair by mistake. So, so yeah, I mean, another way to practice self-love, and I know this is a little bit more superficial, but it still counts as self-love, is taking care of your appearance, taking care of your body, like going to get a nice haircut. That is a form of self-love. Or getting to go to the spa, or getting a nice massage, you know, like doing things that make you feel good on the inside is going to attract people to you that you are meant to be around. Another way to practice self-love is being around people that are helpful to you. Like, instead of being around people that drain your energy and just make you feel worse all the time, spending time with people who make you feel good about yourself, make you feel uplifted, make you feel confident. Surrounding yourself with people that improve your mental health and emotional well-being. I know that some of the people I love to hang out are with my friends, especially my best friend. I like hanging out with them because they allow me not only to feel understood, but they also bring a lot of joy into my life. So I really cherish all of the friends that I have in my life, and I hope that you find friends, or that you are able to cherish your friends as well. Thanks for watching. Peace out. Much love, and may all be free.